prior to the holiday. I had told you at that time that we were still having some issues that we were trying to work through, and that my hope was by this time that I would be saying that we've cut over fire in EMS and things are working just as we had hoped they would. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We're not quite there yet. Some things that have happened since we spoke last, and we may have spoken about some of them previously, but we had, since we cut over police and the sheriff's office, we have encountered some issues along the way. One of those was our dropped call situation, and that was corrected with a router configuration and actually replacing the router. We then realized that we also had what appeared to be some microwave issues, all right? And we brought the microwave company in. They were brought to task, sat down, spent a week here, and cleared up a lot of those issues. As each one of these things have, as we basically diagnosed the problem and then we're able to take corrective action, we have improved this radio system each step of the way. Okay, so it's not a case of us just spinning our wheels and not going forward at all. We are going forward every time we encounter a problem, and we isolate it and then eliminate the problem. As we've gone forward, there had been another issue that was brought to light. Was basically it was a audio, or rather a data burst at the end of transmission. Basically just a loud screech at the end of the transmission. This was escalated up to Harris. It was found that while we brought it forward, said we're encountering this problem, they were able to look across other customers across the country that were also experiencing the problem, and as we brought it up, it was escalated up, and they came back with a solution for that, which was implemented today, which is basically a software upgrade to the system. They did that, appears to have corrected that problem. Now, as we got out there, and it's starting to look like we are getting to the point where, okay, well, everything seems to be just where we need it to be now, we were hearing some complaints from end users that they were still having issues, and they were describing the issues to us. And that happens. The one thing that was a positive is that myself, I could go out to where they're saying, I'm having this issue, or I'm having that issue, and I could recreate that problem. That's a big step. Okay, because if I can recreate it, then there's not a lot of speculation going on there that it could be this, it could be that. I can say that this is occurring, that the radio is not operating as it should be when we are in certain locations in the county. They're very limited locations, very small areas of the county that we are seeing the problem. So we started troubleshooting that, and that has been a bit of a process going through that troubleshooting that we've done. We've done a lot of different things, a lot of different testing. We then, after a lot of discussions, as we've said in the past, Harris has brought in some of their top people, their Tiger team, which is their team that basically deals with all high-level projects that are encountering problems. All right, so they brought the Tiger team in. They've been involved in this thing and continue to be involved in the project. Even if we've eliminated some of the initial issues that we presented to them, they're still, once you're part of it, you're part of their top 10 list, if you will. So as we've gone through that, it became evident that we needed more help with what we were seeing. We could not isolate the problem, what was going on with it. So they then sent another system engineer to the county, a gentleman by the name of Brian Munson, who I have worked with on previous projects. Mr. Munson is considered the subject matter expert for Harris Corporation in reference to simulcast systems. Okay, simulcast is very complex. All right, so from my perspective, and I'm an operational guy. I'm not a technical guy. I look at things from an operational perspective. So basically, I go out there and I say the radio it's not working the way it should be, where I have this type of signal strength. We got excellent coverage in this county. Why is the radio doing this? Brian was able to come out. He went out. He's a very hands-on type of person. He was able to go out. He was able to reproduce it himself. So at that point, it becomes a very systematic thing with him. He will attack a problem like that, and as he puts it, he peels back layers of the onion. And he keeps digging, and he keeps digging, and he keeps digging until he finds out what's going on. Well, one of the things that he decided to do was that we would do a complete, basically scrub the system, top to bottom. He wanted to eliminate anything that could be system-related problems that were going on. So that's what he did himself. The other system engineer, as well as some technicians, they went out and they scrubbed the system. They went every site, basically would be a preventive maintenance type thing, basically looking at every possible thing to make sure everything is working just the way it should be working. And that uncovered a couple of things. One was a bad cable, as simple as that. It was probably bad when they installed it. There was some other things that they found that in one of the combiners that there was it was out of tune, basically. So they were able to correct that. Again, two more things that as they corrected those problems, things get a little bit better, okay? But we're still not there. One of the things that they saw was what's called a high bit error rate. Basically, at certain points, this high bit error rate was spiking, and they were seeing that. So the next part of it was that they would bring in another piece of equipment, actually a couple of pieces of equipment. One's called a PAT tool, which is a reliability tool. Basically, it'll simulate somebody doing thousands and thousands and thousands of PTTs, push-to-talks on a radio. And then you see how much of the reliability there was in those push-to-talks. And then the other part of it was what's called a CSI tool, which is basically looking at we set up on the Youngsville Station 1, we set the equipment up there. They have a external antenna there for their base station that sits at a very high point, about 40 feet in the air. So we're able to hook up to that, and we're just basically running that equipment now for the past, we've been doing it since last Friday, and we did it through the weekend, and we'll continue. We probably have a couple more days of running that. And basically what that equipment is doing is it's looking at any type of interferers or